What's up guys, it's Manga time once again. I'm here to bring you my review of Bleach 658, Fatal Matters Are Cold. Happy New Year, by the way. It's been a long time since a Bleach chapter came out, and a long time since we had a review. We've been waiting on the continuation of Askin's fight for some time now, so I'm very happy to see the manga's finally returned. I hope you're all having a great 2016 so far. But yeah, let's get on with the chapter review. Remember guys, you can subscribe to the channel if you want to support me. I'd super appreciate that, and give the video a thumbs up if you like the review. Give it a thumbs down if you don't. But yeah, let's see what Kubo's got in store for us. So it starts off where we left off, with Askin redoing his hair because he's badass like that. And he continues to explain, "Oh, thank you. Yoruichi, you can no longer kill me with it." And we then get an additional facet of the death-dealing power that I don't think we'd seen so far. Oh, I suppose we have, actually. Well, basically, because he's standing there and his wounds all heal, they all disappear. And we've never seen it quite so literal like that before with his ability. However, we have actually seen this before. I completely forgot. When he's against Oetsu, and Oetsu essentially cuts his throat, Askin gets back up again. So, clearly his wounds healed. So, Askin can effectively... Because he says then on the next page that by raising the lethal dosage, I've become immune. Yeah, we know that is the crux of his power. However, it then seems that becoming immune doesn't just mean no longer being able to hurt him. It also means everything you hurt him with disappears, which is really overpowered, I'm not going to lie. But Askin's like my favourite exterminator, so I'm not complaining. But anyway, yeah, he says, come on now, you don't have the luxury of being shocked. If you don't hurry, you'll all be killed without having left so much as a single scratch on me. Askin, not the most arrogant character in the series, almost surprisingly down to earth, actually, so it's a little bit weird hearing him being so, like, in your face, I'm going to kick your ass. But considering he is currently pretty much in control of this fight, I think it's probably allowed. Yuushiro then charges at him with flame wings, which I'm not going to lie, look awesome. The flame wings actually look very cool. And he tries to use Shunko again to, presumably do exactly what he tried to do last time, which was just beat the shit out of Askin. But, Yoruichi's like, oh no, wait, Yuushiro, because Yushiro's an idiot. There's a very cool panel then of Yuushiro punching Askin in the stomach. Can I just say as well that Askin is literally the skinniest dude ever. And also, he is not really wearing many clothes anymore. I'm not entirely sure how those trousers are staying up, but I hope they stay that way, because otherwise this fight's going to get weird. But anyway, Yuushiro punches him in the stomach and literally nothing happens. It's actually a very Aizen-y moment for an Aizen-y character. But yeah, Yuushiro punches him, and Askin's kind of just like, oh, you just don't get it, do you? And it's like such an Aizen moment. But then he says, I've already taken that attack head on. So basically, the Shunko is now completely worthless. And I just love how brutal Askin is in this scene. He's brutal, but he's calm about it. Yuushiro punches him, and Askin just puts 3 arrows straight through his back, which is just mad. But it's really cool that he pulls out his bow like that, literally, because his bow's gone again at this point. So he literally pulled his bow up, put the arrows in, and put it back again. So, clearly Askin is quite the archer, which I like, because the argument that used to be bandied around was that the Quincy aren't using arrows. Well, that's rubbish now, because so many Sturmature have used bows and arrows, but a lot of them haven't really used them very effectively. Askin, however, appears to be a bit of a boss with them. However, at first I kind of thought, oh, you literally had Yuushiro right where you wanted him, why didn't you do some more damage? But in the next page, you can literally see that these arrows have gone straight through Yushiro's chest. Looks like straight through his heart, I'm not going to lie. Is he dead? Obviously not. But he is probably in a bit of trouble. And I have to say that the scene where Askin is walking away and Yoruichi just runs past him is very cool. As Yuushiro just collapses to the ground, literally with these arrows like out that far. He then starts coughing up blood, and Askin's like, you were too late, just as I suspected. It took you far too long to realise my true power. And then there's just a really, really awesome panel of Askin. The whole page is his face, as he's just like, that's lethal, Shihoin Yoruichi. And I have to say that I just love that Askin's theme is death, lethality, fatality, all that sort of... It's just such a cool theme. It's such a cool theme for a character to have. But he's a complete badass. Yoruichi's a complete badass. So what I'm hoping now is that Yushiro's been taken out of the game, so these two can have a showdown that will last, like 10 or so chapters, like the rest of the Elite's getting. That would be really awesome, but apparently we don't stick with Askin in this chapter. We move over to Gerard again, and I kind of hope that Kubo doesn't do this throughout the whole of their fights. I hope we're still in the kind of the beginning stages. Like I said, I hope Yushiro's now been taken out of the fight, and that was his little bit of intervention, and now it's literally just going to be after Gerard's killed, a Yoruichi versus Askin showdown. Anyway, Gerard is kind of wandering around as he was before, and we actually see Hiyori and Hachi, which is a surprise because I think most of us thought that Lil Barrow had sniped most of the Vizards. So, who did he actually snipe other than Hisagi? Well, I imagine he probably did Kione and Sentaro, probably did Isane, and maybe that's it. I mean, it's still not bad, but it's not quite as good as we first thought. So anyway, Hiyori's like, oh, what's with that guy? This probably means that everyone down there had their asses kicked. And then Gerard, I like the image is cool. He leans on a building, just kind of like, what about? Well, this is a waste of my time, and it's quite a nice little image. But yeah, I think it's cool. He also doesn't seem quite as tall anymore. I don't know if it's just me, but he doesn't seem quite as tall. But he obviously is, like, enormous. But anyway, he's like, the captain class fighters to be destroyed that easily before the might of my miracles is, just pathetic. Even your Reiatsu's grown so small, I'm barely able to feel it anymore. Which sounds like setting up some kind of defeat for Gerard. I don't really know. I don't know. It could just be a point that Kubo's trying to make that Gerard is massive now. But, the fact that Gerard can no longer sense Reiatsu very well doesn't speak well. Anyway, he then says, with this godlike body of mine, I'm going to have to search through the rubble for survivors. This is akin to shifting through sand to kill an ant. It's worthless. And this is very similar to what Yami said. I do have to say, though, that Gerard does appear to be a little bit more successful than Yami. Anyway, he then turns around and he smashes through a building. And he's like, this is why I'm going to draw you out. Just because it's daunting, you actually think I wouldn't find you. Making the impossible possible, that's the very definition of a miracle. Hiyori then jumps up behind him, and I have to be honest, I was like, you're going to get your ass handed to you. And so she's like, I'm just not listening to your thing about miracles, you can take them and shove them up your ass as far as I'm concerned. And then she does what Hiyori's kind of thing is, and that's call him Baldy, to which Gerard is like, I actually have a full head of hair, thank you very much. And I quite like that because I'm not a huge Hiyori fan, so when someone kind of doesn't get her, I like that, I think it's funny. Now, this next bit, this is going to be a point of contention for a lot of people. Hiyori then puts on her mask. Just like that. She just puts it on. So they clearly were not banned from using them. And there clearly is no detrimental reason for them to use them. So why the hell didn't Rose and Kensei pull their masks out against Master Masculine? Why hasn't Shinji used his mask against anyone yet? If Shinji used his mask, he might stop getting his ass handed to him, because the only time he hasn't lost a fight is against Grimjo, and he actually used his mask in that fight. Hiyori then does some very, very badass triple Sero, which I have no idea when she learnt, but it's cool. I'm not going to lie, it's cool. She does it one out of her mouth and two out of her hands, and she just fires them at Gerard. Hilariously, Gerard just blocks it immediately. I mean, it's quite funny. It's a cool image though. Like, I like Hiyori above him like that. I think Kubo is using size better than he did in the Ami fight for some more dynamic angles. And so Gerard is like, oh, don't make me laugh. Something of that attack will never faze me. And I have to be honest, Gerard's eyes are creeping me out. They are really freaking weird. I don't know why they look like that, but they look super weird. Anyway, Hiyori's like, maybe so, but who said that attack was supposed to take you out? And then we get a really cool panel of 3 other Vizards jumping behind him. And I was like, where are these guys coming from? This is awesome. Lisa's using Haguro Tombo, which I still think is like the coolest Shiko we've never seen. Seriously, we've seen it once up until this point, and she just doesn't use it because she's not in the series that much, and now she's using it again. So I hope we actually get to see it do more stuff. We see an ability of it in a second, even though it's a bit hard to tell what it is, but I think I've worked it out. And then obviously Love is there with Tengumaru, and then Hachi shows up with a bunch of jelly cubes, basically. No, but seriously, this is a really cool scene, a really nice teamwork scene, and it's cool seeing the Vizards do something again, because I actually like the Vizards. I know they suck, everyone knows they suck, but they look cool, and they have really cool powers, and I think the Vizards as a collective have like the most unique set of Zanpakuto we've ever seen. But anyway, Hachi's ability is called Chocolate Bar Slider, Christ knows why. Love uses his Hifuki no Kazuchi move that he uses against Stark. And then Lisa uses a move called Niju Ichijo Tomboku Dari, which we've never seen before. But her moves have such cool attacks. It's called the 21st Article Dragonfly Landing. I mean, what does that mean? I don't know, but it sounds awesome. And her Zanpakuto name means something like Bell Ink Dragonfly or something like that. That's just a really cool name. I want to see it. all of these attacks just completely decimate Gerard. And we can work out what they are individually. Hifuki no Kudzuchi is the massive explosion of fire because he, like I say, he uses it against Stark. The chocolate bar slider appears to just be a bunch of those things flying at Gerard, which leaves the only other attack in there to be a slanted rain of like spears, which must be Lisa's attack, which is awesome. Like seriously, I want to see Lisa do more stuff because that's really cool, as far as I'm concerned. There's then suddenly a massive shockwave, and Gerard seems to essentially deflect the entire thing with his shield because he's just completely overpowered at this point. He sends all the Vizards flying because they're Vizards and they go flying the moment they appear on screen. They all go flying into the building, and he's like, oh, at this rate I'm going to die from boredom. And then he says, if I just destroy this whole area, I'm going to kill all of you, and that'll be that. As he does this, however, his entire arm gets frozen, and I was like, oh, no. However, it is better than Toshiro appearing against Askin, because then I'd be well pissed off. But no, Gerard's arm gets frozen, he's like, oh, what? And then it's revealed that someone has made an ice bridge between two of the towers, and Toshiro's like, oh, judging from their Reiatsu, Kyoraku and a handful of the others are still lingering around here somewhere, which means letting you flatten this entire area would be, not doing my job. And then he stands there on his own little ice-made bridge with his sword in the ground, and he's like, so do me a favour and stay frozen there for all eternity. And that's the end of the chapter. So I'm not going to lie, Hitsugaya does look cool in his Quincy outfit, and I think Kubo thinks so as well. Otherwise, why wouldn't he just randomly have him change? Because, let's be honest, having clothes appear out of nowhere isn't new. Hitsugaya's Quincy outfit appeared out of nowhere. So, as far as I'm concerned, he could have had him turn back into his Shinigami clothes. But he looks much better in this outfit. I like the fact that you can see, well, this is just a tiny detail, but I love the fact you can see the underside of his feet because, he's standing on ice rather than a building. It's just cool, it's cool. And the final page is undeniably cool. What do I think about this? Well, if Toshiro defeats Gerard, then that's absolute bullshit. But it's probably not going to happen. Toshiro's probably going to hold him off for a little bit, only for Gerard to, completely overpower him. Matsumoto will probably arrive as well. Gerard will probably overpower them. Hopefully the Vizard get back up again, because I don't even think they've been hit. Gerard just sort of knocked them away. Hopefully they get back up again, but I'm still thinking that we will get a Bankai out of Shinji Hirako out of this fight. I just think that's going to happen. I'd be really surprised, actually, if we didn't. Because he's there somewhere, the Vizard are now doing something. Love also needs to show us a Bankai. And I think there's a big clue that Shinji might be joining this fight, and that's on the title page. Bleach is written upside down. And at first I was like, why? What has that got to do with anything? Could it just be Kubo's way of, transitioning between the two parts? Like, oh, you're going from this part and now going into this part. But that seems a bit, I don't know. I think it could be foreshadowing Shinji's eventual involvement in the fight with Gerard, but we'll have to see if that comes to fruition or not. I liked this chapter quite a lot. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I actually thought the whole thing was really good. I loved Askin showing up Yuushiro, because he's an arrogant little prick, that kid. But Yushiro's, Fire Shinko looks cool. It was a very, very well-drawn chapter. Askin just looks like a complete badass. Hopefully that's, preceding what should be a great showdown between him and Yoruichi. And then the Gerard stuff was also pretty good. I love seeing the Vizards again. We need to see these underappreciated characters more often. That's another reason why Toshiro coming back is so annoying, because, the Vizards have cool, unique abilities, and so does Toshiro, but not after we've seen it for like the 7th, 8th time. So, yeah, I really hope the Vizards do a bit more in this fight. Like I said, I don't think Toshiro is going to defeat Gerard, because that would be unbelievable, because Gerard basically handed everybody their asses. So if Toshiro just defeats him, nah, not going to happen. But anyway, guys, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did you like this week's chapter of Bleach? Was it worth the little wait we had to endure? And as always, guys, please subscribe to my channel and give me a comment and a like. And I'd super appreciate all of those different things. But I will see you next week. Let me know as well, how do you think Toshiro is going to fare in this fight against Gerard? Is he going to get help from the Vizards and maybe some of the other captains who probably obviously aren't dead? And what do you think of the Yoruichi versus Askin? How is that going to go down? Is anyone going to intervene in that fight? I've seen a lot of people thinking that Soifon's going to join in. I'd be surprised, because I think they are still technically on like different different Zweiter asts, or whatever they're called, you know, the prongs of the cross. So, I don't know, maybe, we shall see. But until next week, guys, see you later.